Oh, hey, how's it going? Happy crappy New Year. I hope your New Year has been, or I hope it was, eventful, and I hope it proves to be a good New Year for you and yours. I wish I could say mine was, sinusitis is, it's taking a lot of territory over in my life, unfortunately. It just seems like one fucking battle after another. Which, great movie, same title. I tend not to upload, when I'm feeling like my nerves are shot, I'm feeling, sick, I'm feeling just, anything other than just moody that, is below the weather, because, I want to show you guys a side of me that doesn't suck, and I think the probability of the suck factor, if you will, is decreased quite a bit if I am not ill. But the problem is I am perpetually ill, as just this ever-escalating fray with my sinuses has essentially made my life very, very challenging, and I'm about to start taking a frickin' really strong steroid that is like an immunosuppressant or whatever, because there's a lot of inflammation. It's pretty shitty. I am destroying all the cartilage in my nose by having to blow it all the time. The sinus pressure is so intense that, Jesus, what's this fucking guy doing? Oh my god, come on, man. It's so intense, I all I have to do is just, blow lightly, and it makes that lovely sound. Although that was pretty quiet compared to it usually is, but the day is pretty early, so that's about as good as it gets. I just wanted to give you some proof of life, and be not the fucking shitty content creator. I mean, you could argue I'm a shitty content creator. I don't put a lot of effort into it. I kind of just hit record and go off the cuff, but I think it's a neat little experiment, and it's certainly not going to bring me into the big leagues anytime soon, but hey, who wants to be friends with Jeffrey Epstein? I'll throw this in the air and see if it fucking spins. So something really crazy happened to me on Christmas, and as collateral damage from my mother, which was really fucking, oh god, this, and you'll get why. It was a situation that I'm sure had my cheeks and hers very, very red, and not just from the cold. So, as I probably stated, I have a crossbow, and it's a crossbow pistol, but I have modified it so it is about as strong as a hunting crossbow. Now, the problem is, you can't use them at archery ranges. I'm planning on joining one. I was gonna go on December 30th to Borman Archery in New West and get a compound bow, and they were gonna fit it, tune it, all the stuff that needs doing, all the tinkering and whatnot. so I could join this range because I don't know, a lot of people in my life have just kind of turned their backs on me. So no, whatever the fuck. I'm not gonna, just cry alone. I'm gonna fucking entrench myself in something like I have been doing with Metal Gear Solid 3 and 5 right now. But I would like to be investing that energy into something slightly more productive. Even though it is really fun, I must admit. But yeah, so I want to throw myself into archery and skiing. But like I said, for some reason, crossbows are frowned upon these ranges. Now, what I do to practice with my crossbow, and something I should mention, I will mention it again, is that a lot of firing ranges, aka where you take a gun, will let you use crossbows, especially the ones like mine that are fitted with like mine's based on it's built with an AR-15 platform on with the frame of an AR-15 platform. So it's got those glorious Picatinny rails, baby, and I've got some very expensive the sight I have right now is a reflex sight, and it's a beauty. It's a red dot, and it's got a laser sight or a laser pointer on the side that is probably the strongest, fanciest laser pointer I've ever owned. It's the only one my cat still chases. Don't worry, I don't cock the crossbow and then fucking get my cat to chase the laser. Yeah, so, and the reflex sight is bent. I will tell you why in a sec, which pisses me off because that cost me 150 fucking bucks. I also have an Ecotech like holosight, which if I could fix the laser pointer to, I would be using, but I can't, so I'm not. It's a military grade one. It's pretty fucking sweet. But in any case, I have taken measures such as the laser sight, and I sighted it in my house to make sure that when I took it out, I wouldn't fucking have any stray bolts. My crossbow is an AR-6 tactical or whatever. It's fitted with a 90-pound bolt right now. Or sorry, not bolt. Limb. Sorry, I'm fucking multitasking. Yeah, so it's a 90-pound limb, which is pretty damn heavy. I mean, it would definitely be applicable for hunting small to medium game. Apparently, you can hunt moose with 90-pound crossbow limbs. However, I wouldn't want to seek out a moose unless I am a very, very skilled hunter, because those things are some of the most terrifying things you can encounter in any woods anywhere. They will run you up a tree like you won't believe, and they are like stark raving mad. They see you, they see blood. And I'm all about ethical kills when it comes to hunting, so I would opt for something like a 150-pound limb, which I'm ordering soon. They'll have to be very careful with it, because apparently if you dry fire it once, even, that can break the whole crossbow, or can break the whole AR-6 Stinger, which is, again, my model. So, yeah, in any case, I found this abandoned house because me and my mom were taking advantage of the fact that Canada's housing crisis is causing all the neat houses and properties that have personality to get torn down, and for multiple dwellings to be put in their place and then rented out and leased, so young people can continue never having dreams of ever owning anything. And these places can be rented by shell companies and sit empty for most of the year. It's really fucking sad how often that happens just in my neighborhood alone. Happens all over Canada though. We're kind of becoming a feudal country in the same way, the state, not in the exact same way, but a similar way to the States. Yeah, in any case, so I would go there with my mom to foster plants, because this house is abandoned, it's going to get torn down, the plants are going to go with it, presumably, so what's wrong with a little plant rescue, right? Am I right? No. And this place, when you go in the backyard, it's like, so, like, here's the alley, backyard's got a big fence around it, and then there's a couple slopes that go down like that, so you're kind of in like a little almost like a little holler, a very little holler, but I mean it's still like a little, a little grotto where you are essentially shielded from the streets around you, because you have those slopes on one side and then you have the massive house behind you. Now, I would go there and I would practice. I would always clean up after myself. I've always been good about that, and I've always been, I made sure all my stuff was sighted in, like I said, before I used it. I got the laser to be extra sure that there weren't going to be stray bolts flying. And, I sighted my, the laser and the sight in, so they both, are like absolutely on point with one another, or were in past tense. You'll find out why they're not anymore, very soon. But, yeah, so, fucking, all was well in the neighborhood. I didn't want to practice at, the complex I'm staying in, because there are kids fucking running around everywhere, and I would hate for a stray bolt to go through a window and potentially hit one. It's not that I'm that bad of a shot, I just don't want there to be any probability of that happening. So I got 60 cheap ass fucking Chinese bolts from my dad for Christmas, and they're just practice bolts, so nothing too serious. They're not like broadheads or what are the other ones I have? The fucking bodkins, yeah. Bodkins look like practice bolts, but they have more penetrating power. I went and had some fun, set up some sort of DIY targets. My mom even took a couple shots, and yeah, it was all well and good. Broke about, 8 or 9 of those bolts, because they're pretty shit, but hey, I got 60 of them, who cares? And so, one problem though with the bow is it didn't come with a carrying case, and it's a very awkward design when it comes to the dimensions. Like, you can't really conceal it, and just about any bag, like, something is always bound to stick out, even if you don't have the stock extended. Like, it's got that traditional AR-15 stock that, people will see and go, oh, assault rifle, yeah. And this story is, it makes for an effective parable on why people should just be well versed on guns, even if they're not interested in them, and even though they're not very big in Canada. Oh, watch out, crow, Jesus. Gun safety is, the line between nasty accidents and, accidents not happening. And if someone wasn't an ignorant fool, they wouldn't have put my life in danger on Christmas fucking Day like they did. So, this is what happened. On our way there, I think it was one of these people who called. We passed about 3 people who are, all old men, and we said Merry Christmas to them, and they all are like, humbug. But, they didn't say humbug, but I'm sure they were thinking it. Their behavior seemed to suggest something similar. Oh, for fuck's sake, I'm the wrong way. But, yeah, so, we're right across the street from our complex, and the bag I had the stock sticking out, and this cop car is driving by us slowly, and I'm like, oh fuck, did someone call the cops? And I thought my mom saw them too, and I was just acting casual. I was trying to, not act sketchy. I was with my fucking mom, for Christ's sake. I thought my mom noticed, but she didn't until the guy did a U-E and stopped right in front of us and flashed his lights. And I was like, oh fuck, they're gonna take my fucking $600 fucking crossbow and reflex sight, and oh my god, this is fucking terrible. And my fucking pocket knife is spring actuated, even though intent is typically what they will penalize in Canada. Fuck. Drivers in the city. Not saying I'm a great driver, but I'm not fucking completely terrible. Anyways, so yeah, fucking I'm already thinking, if you guys were just fucking, fair about handing over my PAL, which is, the license to possess a firearm in Canada. I passed my test when I had pneumonia and got 99 out of 100 fucking questions right. And they still were like, oh, you have major depression, if you get anywhere near a gun, you'll try to blow your head off. Despite the fact that I, go shooting all the fucking time, when I can afford it at a range that charges a lot of fucking money, for you to be able to use it, use their weapons, you pay for the ammo. If I was to taught myself, it would not be with a firearm. It's messy. That's potentially very messy. I've heard some horror stories of people trying to blow their heads off with a 12 gauge, and then they just blow their jaw off and they're bleeding out, don't die. No thanks. But that means I have nowhere to practice with my fucking crossbow, for Christ's sake. I have nowhere to fucking practice. Oh, Jesus. Fuck am I? So that's why I did some searching, and I found a place that seems, like it's a safe place to practice. It's not ideal, but it's the best I could find. That didn't entail, a drive outside of the city. But, this event proved to me just how fucking people who live in cities are uneducated, fucking easily scared fucking snowflakes. their ignorance is like, Jesus Christ, like, I feel like I knew more about identifying and being responsible with firearms than this person did when I was fucking 8 years old. So basically someone, again, only passed a few people, all of whom were curmudgeons and just seemed really nasty and probably had nothing going on in their life, so wanted to, make their day interesting by potentially getting me fucking shot. You know why? Because they called the cops and they said someone is walking down the street with a gun and shooting. Mind you, I never took it out until we got to the house, and I had my mom keep an eye out when we were at the house. No problems. But like I said, the cop fucking rolled up on me right across the street from where we live. So, like, if he showed up like half a minute later, we would have been inside watching all these cops going up and down the street losing their mind. Because that one car turned into a dozen cop cars with 24 officers at least. Fucking... Luckily, I was chill with them, and I just, gave the guy the bag. And, I probably shouldn't have said this, but I was like, I would have gone with the legal channel, but my firearms permit, despite doing everything that every other person would have to do, and getting a 99 on my test, because of something I was born with and can't control, it was denied, so I can't take it to a range. So what am I going to do? I can't use it at home because my place is tiny and fucking, I don't want any risk of someone getting hurt, and so, just fucking dozens of cop cars all up and down the block, which I get it. If they get a call basically saying there's someone fitting all the criteria of a mass shooter, I think that I am kind of lucky that I just was pulled over by the one guy first, and I was like, here, this is my crossbow, it's legal, this is what I was doing. I told them, that basically everything I just said, and that I just practiced down there, and because I know that there was nothing illegal I was doing. Like, maybe I could get a trespass from that house, but they didn't even bring that up, so I don't think there would have even been grounds for that, because the call said, even though I was honest with them and I told them fucking I was practicing at the house, they didn't see me there, and the call didn't say I was there. The call said I was walking down I think they said down the alley and shooting. Which is just fucking, that's just so unbelievably fucking reckless and callous, and like either it comes from a place of deep ignorance about the world, or a place of, because it's like cops have guns on their fucking hips. What do you think you would do if you were a cop and you got a call saying someone is shooting? I'm not blaming the police in this situation, because they we're just doing their fucking job. The guy took the thing from me, and I am blaming the police on one thing. I'll get to that. But I gave the thing to the guy. Like I said, I was like, I was just trying to contain my anger, because I was thinking they're going to take it away, even though it's legal. They asked me, where did you get it? I said, all military surplus stores sell them. One of the cops even sounded like he wanted to buy one himself. He was like, oh, like how many feet per second, and what's the poundage on that limb? I just for the sake of being forthcoming, I told him everything, but he seemed kind of interested. And we were there for a while, and it was a real fucking shame parade. I mean, so first off, the the cop was like, do you have any other weapons on you? And I was like, I have a pocket knife. And I was like, fuck, there goes my pocket knife. It's spring actuated. But the thing is, fucking, like I said, it's intent. It's what you choose to use something for that oftentimes determines what they're going to do. So, I made sure to tell them I use it for, cutting the bolts out of the wood that I was practicing with, and, I've taken all these measures to be safe. For fuck's sake. Yeah, what do you fucking expect me to do, man? Jesus Christ. Get in the other lane. Stop fucking bitching. God, some people are fucking assholes. Anyways, yeah, so fucking... Luckily, I did my research, like I said. There was nothing they could do. I remember they brought out a measuring tape. They were trying to find anything they could potentially hold against me. Because, I think they wanted to warrant the fact that they had called out, like, the whole fucking department to me and my mom. And my mom is a retired lawyer. She knows the law, but she told me something very interesting after, which was that my grandfather had entrusted in her the fact that, the notion, because it's not a fact, the notion that the cops always know what they're doing and they never do anything wrong, which she says she will now doubt from, here on out, because, the response was ridiculous. And we told them that, we live right across the street there, like, all our neighbors are coming out and gawking at us, looking at us like we're fucking criminals, and, but we're very cooperative, so, they didn't cuff us. The guy said, at first he's like, I'm detaining you, and I'm like, that's fine, we'll work through this, I'll do what I can to help, but, I'm just practicing because, this is my only option unless I want to drive, like, way out of the city and go in the forest. And, cops, like, I've dealt with them a lot, more so when I was, like, homeless and younger, and, sometimes, it was warranted when they showed up. Other times it wasn't when I was younger. But what I have learned, though, experientially, is that if they have nothing on you, but there's like any like potential law you may have broken or bent, they will warn you, well, I could have charged you with this, I could have charged you with that, like they want you basically, like tongue polishing their boots by the time you're leaving at the very least, and if they're not taking you with them. So, they didn't say a single thing. They just, eventually gave it back, gave my knife back, gave the bolts back. But what they did do, though, however, which pisses me off, it still works, but it just pisses me off because I spent the time to sight it in, and this was a very expensive thing, and I don't think it can be fixed. They kept, every time they took the crossbow out of the bag, they would jam it back into the bag nose first, and do it really hard, and maybe they didn't see the fact that I have a glass sight because I had the lens cap on it, but I think they were just they were white fucking knuckling their way through this interaction because, it just turned out to be a big nothing burger. They probably thought, oh, this is my day. I'm gonna fucking drop a mass shooter. I'm gonna save lives. I'm gonna be a hero. I'm gonna get a promotion and everyone's gonna love me. And, it's that moment every cop's waiting for. That career fucking making moment. But, it was not to be because there's nothing they could do. So they gave everything back, and now all my neighbors probably think I'm a fucking lunatic, which I don't really care. They're all fucking, they all epitomize what I think is, driving a city to shit, which is, yuppies who will rent a place or buy a place, and then they won't even live there full time. They'll leave it empty half the year and fucking drive the housing market up, and they look down their nose at me, and they get mad at me for putting out bird feeders and stuff. Like, I've taken so many fucking lengths to ensure that the birds don't make a mess or anything. Getting seedless feed and all that. You'd think that they would be happy that I brought some bird song into the neighborhood, so we don't have to listen to just the sound of cars echoing unendingly, fucking, because I live right beside a highway. Sorry about that. I live close to a highway anyways, it's basically the street I live next to, I think, it merges into, different highways, so it's very busy, and it's on the top of the hill, which has this echoing effect, so, the Doppler effect that, like a car going by and, like, whoosh, where the whoosh gets louder and louder and louder, or, well, not louder, sorry, it goes higher in pitch as it gets more distant. It was a cool effect, it was a trippy effect for the first week, until it was waking me up at 3 in the morning, 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning. Living on a busy street is very tiresome. I hope I never have to do it again. But anyways, so we got the shame parade, everyone was coming out of their house to see what was going on. And, I can't really blame them too much for being gawking voyeurs, because, every time I've seen something go down on the street, I'll look out the window and be like, oh, what's that? Because the cop cars just light up the inside of these fucking complexes. But, am I upside down? I'm upside down. Sorry about that. Evidently that holder is not very solid, but going back to how this situation concluded, it wasn't catastrophic, which I'm glad for. All they could say to me was like, at first they were like, why don't you just practice at home? I'm like, because I have a cat, because there are kids outside. I don't think I would miss that much, and I wouldn't be that unsafe, but I don't want to risk it, because accidents are the types of things that, you don't necessarily see coming from, miles away. Sometimes you can, if you keep yourself informed and you keep your senses acute. They can be prevented, but not all the time. So, I would rather go to a safer place, and the place I was going was safer. So all they could say was what I essentially suggested 20 minutes earlier, which was, from now on I'll just go out, I'll drive up to Squamish, and I'll fucking go out in the woods in the middle of nowhere and set up some targets, and I'll come what may, I guess. But I'll be safe and all that. And so, they basically just reiterated that. Just, if you're going to do this, go out. If the archery range you join, if you get chummy with the people there, maybe they'll let you use it. But, we don't know about that. So I was like, we'll see what happens. We basically, I after the first half hour, I could tell that, nothing was gonna happen, that they weren't gonna take my gear away. I was just kind of like nervously, clowning a little bit. I pulled out some gum and I offered the officer beside me, this female officer who I think was the sergeant or whatever. I offered her some. I gave some to my mom, and she declined, which understandable, but I just wanted to be polite. So it was a very colorful Christmas with 12 fucking cop cars all blaring their lights and sirens. and yeah, scared the ever-living piss out of me and my mom. And yeah, fuck that guy who made the call forever. Fuck him very much, because, you know, he could very easily have had blood on his hands if it didn't go down the way it did. And yeah, so that, I mean, I think it's like, at least it's a funny story that I'll be able to tell for the rest of my life. Yeah, you know, other than that, I feel like if I talk about anything else, I'll just start fucking pissing and moaning. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I want this to be a chill fucking channel where, you know, we can have challenging discussions, sure, but, you know, I don't want to, you know, misery is contagious, and I don't want any of y'all to get sick in that regard. So yeah, I am about to start fucking 2-week fucking run of antibiotics and prednisone, which means I am going to be feeling like caca over the next fucking few weeks at least. And antibiotics, like, they just rip my fucking gut apart. And you know, your gut health is very influential on the state of your neurological and neurochemical functioning, on the solidity or lack thereof of your central nervous system, which in turn affects your immune system. So yeah, hopefully I will be slightly better after that, because, you know, there's plenty of shit going on in the world that I would like to talk about. I just would like to do it with a clear, level head, and without an underpinning of fucking aggravation, irritation, rage potentially, or just, you know, despair. I very desperately need surgery, and the bitch of the Canadian healthcare system is that for specialty issues like sinuses especially, wait time is very long for an operation. Like, basically what's going on with my sinuses is that like, I've had my nose broken quite a few times from horsing around and shit, as a kid and as a fucking teenager and whatnot. What are these guys doing? I live in construction purgatory, I swear to God. Yeah, so what's going on is I've had a deviated septum for some time. I can't, like, even close my left nostril no matter how much I flush it out. Like, I have to use basically a small irrigation pump to flush saline solution and corticosteroids through my sinuses every single fucking day, twice a day. It makes all the fucking mucus running into my lungs that is it's so heavy that you know, I was misdiagnosed with bronchitis. It makes it taste like sour milk. I fucking hate it. It makes the sinus pressure so bad that, you know, like, I spend the next hour or two fucking hacking up mucus and trying to clear my airways, and didn't fall asleep till 2 in the morning because I was just coughing endlessly. But and I've been on antibiotics before for this stuff, and it didn't really seem to do much, and since it's back-to-back infections, I think maybe it'll make the current one go away, and then the next one will probably swoop in. But yeah, so anyways, hope to hear from y'all. You know, I enjoyed talking a lot because, like I said, you know, I'm kind of a lone wolf these days. You know, you know, other than taking like a pretty hefty edible every night, I don't really do drugs anymore, so I don't try not to interact with people who do, because if I'm around people doing drugs, I will probably do drugs myself. That's just the way it goes. And it's not like those people care to seek out my company on their own. And the other people I've known who I think are really neat, interesting, talented people who I I really want to collaborate with, I really want to engage in activities with. They are never down to do anything when I'm well enough to do something, or when I'm just willing to power through how shitty I feel. So yeah, it kind of sucks. And I've been feeling kind of too shitty to do a lot of stuff. I mean, saw a couple David Lynch films in theaters, and last time I did, I got sick because, like I said, my immune system is fucking under attack, basically. But yeah, I mean, I guess fucking lonely, and it kind of puts me off, like putting in the effort to make new friends, because it's like, well, who can you trust if the people you have trusted just turn fucking tail and go live their lives doing, their own much of nothing. And then every time you try to get them to do something, they're like, oh no, but I want to actually do something. I want to do something instead of just getting stoned and watching movies. And it's like, Jesus Christ, I suggest fucking all these different things, and it's like, that's either not good enough, or it's like when you do accept, it's all we end up doing is getting stoned and watching movies or whatever, which I don't mind doing, but, there are some people who are like that, like, I gotta fucking be productive with myself, I gotta touch grass, and then when I ask them to touch grass, they don't. They'll maybe entertain it, and then completely change their mind and be like, oh no, I'm too good for that, sorry. I've got better things to do. Yeah, fuck it. I mean, like, I love people, but, so many of them have stabbed me in the back, fucking literally and, figuratively. And it makes me malcontent, and it gives me trust issues, and makes me reticent to spend the little energy I have on trying to rekindle or kindle new friendships. But, the few of you who keep showing up and fucking supporting, I appreciate it, and, you're all so fucking unique and, interesting that, it's nice to talk to you all. So, fucking just drop a comment. Tell me how you're feeling. Tell me what your plans are for the new year. Whatever, fucking just be nice to converse with people, because I love chatting, but, I don't have a ton of people to chat with these days. I don't mean to sound like a sorry sob, but, yeah, I'll just shut up now. Anyways, love you. Bye.